If you've ever opened the fridge at 5 p.m. and just stared at it, hoping dinner would figure itself out, this video is for you. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to plan every meal, build your shopping list automatically, and even track your calories and weight, all from one spreadsheet. This is the meal planner and weight tracker I sell at the Productive Plans, and I'm going to walk you through every section so you can see exactly what's inside before you get it, or if you've already grabbed it. And because meal planning works best when it becomes a real habit, I've linked a free habit tracker in the description too. It's a great one to use alongside this to keep yourself consistent with your meal prep routine each week. It's completely free, so just pop your email in and I'll send it straight over. And let's get into the tutorial. So before we do anything else, the first thing you'll need to do is make your own copy of the spreadsheet. So at the top, go to File and then click Make a Copy. And this will save to your own Google Drive and gives you your own personal version so you can edit it freely, as this one here is just view only. First up is the Setup tab, which can be thought of the kind of engine room for the rest of the spreadsheet. This is where your food categories, units of measure, and ingredients database all lives. It's worth noting that the food categories and units tables populate throughout the rest of the spreadsheet, but the single ingredients table does not. It's more of a personal database to track nutritional values for individual ingredients. You won't spend much time in this tab day to day, but it's definitely worth setting up and becoming familiar with it because the rest of the spreadsheet tends to pull from this tab, as I said, categories and units. Next up is the recipe book, and this is your recipe library tab essentially. So every recipe you add into the recipe cards tab down here will automatically populate into the recipe book tab here. It's separated into different meal times, breakfast, lunch, whatever you wish it to be. And you can see it as building up your own personal cookbook inside the spreadsheet. So for example, if I wanted to see the recipe for pancakes, I just click down into this cell, this tab opens up, I click it, and it will take me to the recipe within the recipe card tab. If I wanted to find lentil soup, go back into the recipe book tab, click, and it will take me directly there within the recipe cards tab. On the recipe cards tab, it's worth explaining what happens here. So each recipe will have its own recipe card and they're organised again into meal times or however you wish to organise them. So I've currently set this up as breakfast, lunch, appetiser, soup, salad, main course, side dish and dessert. On each recipe card you can add the name of the recipe, how long it takes to prep and cook, the total calories, and you can then break down those calories into the amount of servings. So if I had 6 people, not 4, it will update the calories. You then add all the ingredients you need, the quantity in which you'll need, and the units. So this links back to the setup tab. So you'd have a cup of flour and the category would be baked goods, or you could change it to bakery. However you wish to categorise your ingredients. You can then add all of the instructions for the recipe and images into the notes area. So to do this, click the cell, insert image into cell. You can also add the link of where you got the recipe from and also other nutritional values such as fat, protein, carbs and fibre. Another useful tip is if you want to go straight to side dishes, just click up here, it will take you straight there. Moving on to the next tab, which is the recipe finder, which is a really useful tool to use when you're looking for a recipe but you can't quite find it or want to scroll through all of the recipe cards or find it in the recipe book. As long as you know the category and the name of the recipe, it's really easy to find. So do the same as the previous example and find the pancakes. So if we click on category for breakfast, click down and find the recipe you're looking for, pancakes, it will populate with the correct ingredients, prep time, cook time, all of those things from the recipe card. You can then also change the number of servings and it will update all of the required elements. So let's say I only needed to serve 4. It will adjust everything. So it's super easy to use and can really help you scale your recipes up or down. The meal planner tab is next, and this is where you get to the actual planning. The meal planner is where you map out what you're going to eat across the week, including breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks, and however you want to structure it. Everything's being pulled directly from the recipe card tab, so there's no retyping here. So you want to start by adding the correct date, so just started on the 1st of the year for now, and this will populate with the relevant day in accordance to the date. So the 1st of the 1st, 2026 was a Thursday. So you can begin populating your meal planner. So breakfast, you can pick from whichever recipe you have. So if I want to change it from smoothie to pancakes, it will update that for me. You can then say if you've got leftovers or not. This will then, as you can see, populate the ingredients list below. You can also add other things. So for example, if you wanted to have a soup with your breakfast, if you so desire, that will then populate the ingredients list too. You then do this throughout the week and it then will update your meal schedule, which is linked directly to the meal planner. So this is great if you want to have something physical printed out. So you could print this out every week once you've filled in your meal planner. So you can see for breakfast we've got pancakes and soup apparently, and whatever else you have for the rest of the week. And you could do file, print, and print this out and stick it on your fridge and know exactly what you're eating for the rest of the week. The next tab is the inventory tab, and this is where you can log what you've already got in your cupboards, fridge and freezer. It really helps to differentiate between buying 3 bags of rice that maybe you don't need, or repurchasing or forgetting something. It's really useful and it actually links directly to your shopping list. So you can let's add something else. So let's say I need goat's cheese, or I already have this, sorry. So I've got goat's cheese and I have let's just say I've got a container, and that would fall into the dairy and eggs category. And I can say that I've already got 2 of those. If I've actually run out of this, I'm aware of this, I can click that I need to repurchase it. This will then go and update the shopping list. You can do this for all of these different categories and anything that doesn't fall into a category, such as kitchen-based things or maybe personal items. You can add them here. So for example, I've added things like trash bags, sun cream, detergent, and that's all really useful for just general household purchasing. All of this to say it will link directly to your shopping list. So this is the shopping list tab. You can actually see that the goat's cheese I added from the inventory, which I said we'd run out of, has actually added to the automatic shopping list. If I decide there's no need to buy it, actually, I've found some more in the fridge, you can just tick it and it will cross off. All of these other ingredients have either filled from the inventory or actually come from the meal planner itself, because when you click on here, you've got all of these ingredients that you need to buy for these recipes. So if you actually already have an avocado or beef mince, just make sure you cross it off before you go to the shops, and that will cross off from your printable shopping list over here. You can then also add other things to your shopping list that might not have made it to the inventory element, so you can just add whatever, say how many you need, choose the unit, the category, and it will actually cross-reference with your inventory itself. You can then say if you need to buy it or not. This will then populate the printable shopping tab. So this breaks all of the items that you need to buy down into its different categories. So you've got condiments, oils, dairy and eggs, fruit and veg, all of that. All of that to say, you can then select that printable area like that, file, print. You can then choose the size you need. I would always go with A4, portrait, and then select current cells just so it prints it to the scale you want. And you can then print that off, take it to the shops, or have it on your phone to see what you need to get. The next tab is the calorie and macro tracker, and important to note that these upcoming tabs are completely optional. No need to track your weight or calories if you don't want to. They're just here in case that's something you're interested in. If you're not, you can just click here and hide the sheet if that's something you want to do. If you do want to use these tabs, it's important to note that they are completely automated and linked to the meal planner. So you'll notice that the date is the exact same as what I set on the meal planner. You can then set your target calorie and macro goals for the day, and all of this will import directly from the meal planner. So for example, it will show on this first day that we're having pancakes and soup for breakfast, and it will populate the calories, fats, proteins, carbs, fibre, nutritional values across from the meal planner that you've already typed in. You can also note whether that's something you've eaten or not. So if you had planned it but you didn't eat it, you just cross it off. All of these will update a daily macros tab and graph at the bottom here, so you can check and compare different calories, fats from your target and what you've actually taken that day. This will be linked again to the meal planner for every single day of that week that you've planned, as you can see. The final two tabs include a weight tracker available in both imperial and metric. So whichever you're used to, you're covered. You can log your weight over time and see progress in one place right alongside everything else. I'll quickly show you how to use it. So we've got Laura and Jess here, who I haven't inputted their height or weights yet. So let's say Laura is 5'9" and Jess is 5'4". This will update the BMI chart over here with everyone's names and will show a graph for weight over time. You can see the different weights here calculated, and that's linked directly to the BMI and updates it. So for example, if somebody like Jess, if this had increased to, just as an example, 175, it would actually move Jess up here and highlight that she's not sitting within the normal BMI range. It's a very similar story over here on the metric weight tracker. You can add different people, so let's add Jess here too. And Jess is 165 centimetres, her current weight, and what she begins with at the beginning of the year. So you do maybe 55, 54, and then it will begin to populate the graph and the BMI. So that's the full meal planner and weight tracker tutorial wrapped up. From planning your meals to your shopping list, basically writing itself, to tracking your calories and weight if that's something useful for you. If it's something that would actually get used in your house, I've added the link to the description, and don't forget to grab the free habit tracker I mentioned at the start. Just pop in your email below and I'll send it straight over. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.